If you're going through investigations in your organization or something similar that is making your life like feeling like hell, then I would like to really speak to you. If that's you or you know someone who's going through, this episode is for you. I have been accompanying and supporting several humanitarians who are going through investigations. On top of all the funding crisis and a lot of difficult things that humanitarians are experiencing, there are also humanitarians who are being let go or organizations trying to find harsh or very, in their words, nasty, unjust way of trying to fire them by launching investigations against them based on misconduct allegations, right? Now, the three things that I would like to bring to your awareness here that I feel is utmost important that you remind yourself as you go through this. Number one, don't let this investigations, whatever the investigations are, whatever the outcome is, whatever the thing is going, don't let this destroy your confidence, destroy your trust in yourself. And I know it's probably easier said than done. And I can feel you, if that's you, I can feel you saying, like, but come on, Estelle, is that even possible? Right. And I hear you and I feel you, but here is the argument maybe I can make that I have been to some of my clients who are going through this is to say, if the allegations that we are being accused of, we believe is not true, or we believe that is unjust or unfair, then why are we using it to undermine our confidence? Why are we using it to make it mean, therefore, I must not be a good manager, therefore, I must not be a good professional, and throw away 10, 15, 20 years of experience of excellence out of the window? Why do that with one investigation to allow this type of investigation, especially if we believe is not true and is not fair? Why are we using it against ourselves by allowing it to destroy our confidence? I know it is very easy when fear is so high, right? It is very easy to find all the culprits, all the ways to blame something. And oftentimes, especially women, we tend to blame ourselves. And I have been in that situation. I have been also in that situation of feeling like it must be me. And then beating myself, the crap out of myself, in addition to all the worries and problems that I was dealing with that is related to investigations, right? So that's why I just want, like, foremost, if I can get you the message, that message is this. If you think really, truly, that investigation is unjust and it has no grounds, or they are doing this to just get rid of you, or whatever the unjust thing that you believe is happening, don't tie it to your confidence, to your trust, to your professionalism of who have you been until now. And whenever your brain wants to do that, ask yourself, what is the purpose of you trying to do that? Like, what is it that you're trying to get out, excuse me, by doing it? So that's the first message is really be careful not to make things worse. That, like with some of my clients, we then realize that even the investigation is then on hold or even stops or even aborted. And then we still have a lot of time to reconstruct and rebuild our trust and confidence. And that is very challenging. So, in order not to do that, I would suggest let's not use or allow them to influence our all the amazing work that we have done. So that's number one, that the message I really want to convey to you. And if you are struggling how to do that, you let me know. Also, you can do this to yourself, is to really logically argue with yourself why you would do that, but also emotionally release a lot of the emotions of you reacting to those investigations. But at the same time, don't make this mean. Don't give them meaning. Therefore, you must not be good and you must not be this, you must not be that, and keep slowly eating yourself up. That is going to harm you, and you know it, and you don't need to do that. The second thing is, the second message that I want to pass here is, if you're going through this and let's say you have no choice, that you need to go through this, ask yourself, how can you go through this feeling powerful, feeling equal, feeling um, a great professional, and not someone who needs to justify or someone who needs to defend or someone who needs to, like, oh my god, did I do this, how did I do this, or all of those things. Instead of doing that, how can you go through this process in the most powerful way you can imagine yourself being? Because no matter how, whether it's just or unjust or all the things, if the investigation is launched, how can you do your part in a way that makes you feel more powerful, more um, as strong and great professional as you are, instead of keep focusing on how all the other people to blame for this investigation, how that person shouldn't have done this, how this and how that, and all of those things, even though that might be true. But if you keep focusing on those, then you will keep feeling a lot of the negative emotions that are not going to support you, except making you feel even more angry, even though anger may help us in this situation. But at the same time, anger can also have very destructive influence on you. So that's why, can we go through this to an extent possible, as powerful as we can be, using this as a way to, okay, this is what's going on. Here is how I would like to show up and showcase what kind of professional I am, focusing on the things that I can control. Of course, you can get support in reading your responses and all of this, so that you really focus on being objective about things, right? Because it's very challenging to be and stay objective, even though we might be objective people in general. But when it comes to emotions being so high, it's very challenging, especially then we have also lost our confidence as we go through this. Then it becomes even harder to do this in a sane mind, right? So that's, or in a calm, grounded mind. So that's why, how can we go through this process feeling powerful? What is the belief set or thought process that will help us feel powerful about ourselves as a professional as we go through this? And the third one, which I believe a lot of people ask, And I would like for you to ask yourself as well is this worth going through? And a client of mine was asking me today, actually, um, he said, is this, I'm wondering if it's even worth going through and fighting for, right? And of course, I asked him, what are we fighting for? Uh, but also I asked him, can you go through this without costing yourself emotionally too much? Is this possible for you? Do you see yourself doing this and not costing yourself emotionally? And he was saying, I don't think so. Okay, then what is the alternative, right? Do we move on to another thing, or do we go to something else, or we come back to it later? What is the alternative strategy? But I also think that having plan Bs and Cs at all times is important, no matter how the investigation goes, simply because it then takes the pressure off. And then we are there doing this for the sake of justice, for the sake of our reputation, for our sake, but not we are doing it because we have no other choice, right? If we keep putting ourselves in a situation where we feel like we have no other choice, then this pressure will be even so much harder that it becomes so difficult to even handle that we crash at some point. So that's why, can we go through this without costing ourselves? And can we have plan Bs and Cs in place no matter how the investigation goes, so that we are able to then say, okay, I'm doing this for these reasons to get my justice, but I'm not going to cost myself whatever the emotional turmoil, and I have alternatives in case this doesn't work. I think is something that we really need to think about, because I have seen so many clients go through this process and feeling like I have to make this work because otherwise I can't go anywhere kind of situation, right? And if we put ourselves in that pressure place, then it becomes so much more like at stake that our brain feel like we can't even handle this level of stake, and we will not be able to go through um, in a healthy way, essentially. So, my dears, so three messages that I really would love to send to you. A, can you really see how you don't let this process, this investigation procedure, can you let this investigation procedure not affect your confidence level? If so, how? Can you try to at least go in that direction? Second, right? How do you go through this in a powerful way? What would that look like? Your way of going through powerfully. And third, would this be worth it? And can you do this without costing yourself emotionally, mentally, and any other way? And can you prepare your plan Bs and Cs so that you don't pressure yourself too much, and know that no matter what, you will be fine? Okay, my dears, I hope this was helpful. If you need support with this, come coach with me. I would love to support you in this most challenging times. If there's anything I can do, please let me know. Have a beautiful week.